Hello, my name is Jessica Hirschap, and I am a student in Grand Canyon University's Master of Special Education program. Today I want to talk to you about the role of a special education teacher. Simply put, the role of a special education teacher is to provide instruction and support that facilitates learning for students with disabilities or limitations. Basically, what that boils down to is providing instruction that meets the student where they are, regardless of their abilities, and believing that all students are capable of learning. In order to do that, a teacher must utilize several things when planning lessons, because they may be planning lessons for kids across multiple grade levels in one class. They must utilize a student's IEP, which is their individualized education plan, to make sure that their learning needs are being met. They must also collaborate with general education teachers and other related service providers to provide the best education possible in the least restrictive environment for their students. Additionally, there are other roles that a special education teacher must fulfill. A special education teacher must always work to improve their practice, which means being a reflective teacher, looking at what they're doing in their classroom, what's working, what's not, what they can change, what they can do to better help a student. That is in all fields of teaching. We must be reflective educators. They must establish expectations in their classroom, because establishing expectations lets the students know when they enter your classroom what is expected of them, what they must do. It helps to establish a routine. It helps to guide students in helping them to feel safe and secure when they know what is expected of them. Special education teachers also must be ethical at all times, doing what is right in all situations, and being sure that we are mindful of cultural and ethnic differences of our students and being respectful of that. The next thing that I want to highlight is advancing the profession. We can advance the profession by being advocates for special education and advocating for our students and being sure that they are receiving the services that are needed, and attending professional workshops and learning as much as we can to move our profession forward. There are certain qualities that make an effective educator that GCU believes in. One disposition that I believe I hold is compassion. I believe I'm very compassionate. I will go above and beyond to help my students in meeting their needs to make sure they're comfortable to learn in my classroom. For instance, if a student is hungry, I often keep granola bars on hand to meet that need. I'm very caring as well. Another disposition that I hold is I'm very dedicated. I will work extremely hard to make sure my students' needs are met. And once again, I hold those high expectations. I'm very culturally responsive in respecting my students' culture, and making sure that I do not cross boundaries. For example, if you have a student that is a Jehovah's Witness, they may not be able to participate in holiday activities. So I'm always very mindful of that and respectful not to intrude on their beliefs. Things that I need to work on are making sure that I help my students to understand that being fair is not always what is equal. For example, in my classroom, I have some students that have tests read to them and they use headphones in order to hear the text, and other students want to use headphones, and I have to explain that they cannot, and they are always like, that's not fair. And for me, being able to explain that to them in a way that they can understand is something I need to work on. Another quality that I need to work on is being a better advocate for my students, and learning what they need and how I can fulfill those needs. And last but not least, I need to learn to not take reflection and others' thoughts as criticism on my own teaching, or think that I am somehow not as good of a teacher just because I have faced criticism. That's something personal I'm dealing with. Last but not least, I want to talk to you about bias. Bias can have a huge effect on how your students and their parents perceive you. If they think you're biased towards a race or a gender, they're not going to feel comfortable in coming to you and addressing you. They are just going to feel as if you don't like them or you have something against them. One bias that I can say I have is the assumption that ESL learners are less, I may assume that they know less English than they actually know, or that they do not comprehend things when they do. I immediately have that assumption, and I need to work on that to better serve ESL students. That is all that I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.